Yeah.
Rob?
How you doing, man?
Well, I'm hanging with you.
So these new fire risers in some of these buildings, you got a door, you go in, it's just a fire riser. You know, it's a school.
Okay.
There is a door that goes to the fire riser.
Okay.
Have you ever been to some of those? So you can go to that fire riser. Yes. Wants to mark those. Wants to mark those as an entry.
On the map?
Yeah.
I guess when you get in the school, it ought to at least be marked somehow. You're talking about that little chute with the ladder?
No, you go in and it's the fire, the piping. There is a
Right.
But you can, they're open. So you just go right over the outside wall.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah, I haven't even seen. I haven't been there. I'll have to check. What, any of ours?
Yeah, something like Loman View. There's a few of them.
Next time I go out there, I'll have to check it out and see.
They were asking me today.
It's not really, I mean, it's not paid for entry or anything.
No, but because you know, you have your outside main wall, you've got a fire riser. Well, it's usually brick around the whole seat. The fire riser doesn't have
So that's what I figured. So Chinese, probably the Chinese president.
It's supposed to be, especially in adult for me, they get fire riser. There's this. Just be aware.
Hello, Holly.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Okay. Well, that's it. Weird.
I didn't hear you say that.
And they all showed up like
Which is fine. Well, how that situation really works is that Snow shares with Polly and Shelly shares with Snow. So they
change the chairs.
And Shelly don't have the same students. They ship the same students from Snow and Polly and Snow.
Sorry, Jen. They could share with one another. The only other thing I can do is open up those teachers as school level users. Now, what that does, though, is that gives access to every student in the building.
So how would done Sage with each other? Because Carol and her partner would be the same, and so would
That allows us to find the same group of students for teachers. I don't have
because that's works in just that's going to be
Sharing it. Just lean over to her and say, hey, look, that might be
I can use school level users, but like I say, it's a little bit of a permit issue because they need access to all kids. So I gave her the option and I said, she's go with that. I'll get Joanne to call me and I'll do it. Because the principal wants me to do it. And then she can build a class with the students. So we could figure out some shared classes. It would just be a linear
They're the same.
It got quiet. I guess that means it's a good time to start, huh? Welcome to our December board meeting. It's fun to see a room full of kids and the supporters in the audience. So thank you all for attending our board meeting. The agendas are posted around the room if you'll make yourself aware of those. And we will begin our meeting by a musical presentation from Valley View Viking Choir, directed by Shelby Ware, and we will let you, Shelby, announce the musical number, after which, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance given by Ada James, a student at Valley View, and we recognize Principal Ann Holdaway from Valley View. Thank you for being with us.
Our song is called Cold and Cute, which we feel is very appropriate for this time of year, and especially how I'm feeling right now. You can't hear it in my voice.
Thank you so much, Ada. And Valley View Vikings, thank you. Let's give them another round of applause. Shelby, you're more than welcome to take him out for the conduct business if you'd like to. You don't need to leave. Thank you, parents, for supporting your kids and coming. Board, our first item on the agenda will be the consent calendar. I would entertain a motion to accept the consent calendar. So moved by Doug. Second, Mitzi. That's right, Mitzi. Forgot about that. Everyone's going to be Mitzi. Any discussion, board? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, the fun part. Recognitions. Let's go to our volunteer award. Diane Rockwood, please. Principal Diane Rockwood.
Yeah, I'm not the volunteer. Thank you, Superintendent and Board. It is just a very, very huge honor for me to introduce to you a former Freedom Patriot. She was a 6th grader at my school last year. So you see the Razorback up there. She is now a Roy Junior High 7th grader, and so I'm excited to present a very special volunteer award to Bethany. Come on up, Bethany. I didn't even call her and say we're maroon. Isn't that awesome? Are you excited? This is kind of fun. So let me just tell you a little bit about Bethany. Let's make sure I can do this at the same time. There we go. I'm just going to read to you a couple of quick quotes from 2 teachers that worked with her directly last year. She's in our dual immersion program. She is a fluent Spanish speaker, bilingual. And so she had 2 6th grade teachers, and they both had something nice to say I'd like to share with you really quickly, and then something directly from our functional life skills teacher. So he said, this is Mr. Van Eerden, he said, she can see the good in others and how they can add depth and purpose in life. Since I've known her, she has expressed her desire to help them feel of their own worth. One thing that I don't think even she realizes is that she has become even more beautiful on the inside by helping them develop their own talents and reason for living. By showing them that they matter and have a purpose, has made this world just a bit brighter to live in. And again, Bethany worked with our functional life skills unit. So some of our severe kids, we had about, 14 kids in that class. And Bethany would give up her recess breaks and her lunchtime to go out and help these kids, whether it was in the lunchroom or on the playground or in the classroom. I should have prefaced that better, but each of these teachers kind of gets to that point. So Mr. Wright was her English teacher, and he said during the year she showed great care and compassion for other students who were part of the FLS unit in our school. She would regularly take her own time during recess to go and help those students. She showed great patience and dedication for the bonds that she created. Even when she wasn't volunteering with their class, she was an advocate for them. She was a good example of service towards others. And then Mr. Hicks, he is our functional life skills teacher. You may have remembered they were honored with an E+ Team Award. Just a great group of teachers in our special ed department. And I went 2 slides ahead. Mr. Hicks said her willingness to set aside her own free time to come help in my class were the actions of a true leader. There were times that Bethany saw extreme behaviors, at times even directed towards her. That didn't stop her from showing up the next day with a smile on her face, ready to build relationships with kids from my class. He says, I have no doubt that Bethany's efforts through her 5th and 6th grade years at Freedom built lasting relationships. Her friendship means the utmost to my students, my staff, and myself. There were several more comments from the staff workers that work closely in that. I visited quickly with Mr. Williams and Mrs. Hawes about Bethany. She is now using her prep time at Roy Jr., one of her precious prep times. And can you guess what she's doing in that prep time? She's working with the severe kids at the junior high, and that includes one of the students that she had worked with in 5th grade. Is that right? Anyway, I'm going to ask Bethany right now to spend a minute and introduce the folks that came with her. Will you just introduce your family that came with you? In English or in Spanish, you can pick.
Voy a hacerlo en español. Ok. Yo tiene mi hermana Madison, mi madre Monica, mi abuela Denise, también mi otra hermana Bryn, mi padre y mi amiga Ashen. Y también Señor Wheeler, él es mi maestro de español. Señor Williams, él es el director de mi escuela. Señora Holly, ella es la maestra de la clase de los necesitarios especiales y también la director ayudante.
Very good. that to you, an amazing volunteer who you want to keep your eye out for, because she's going to be a teacher in this district in the not too distant future.
Get her an early contract.
Yeah. Cammy, we got that. Quinn, you want it? Where'd Quinn go?
All fighting for her.
We need to recognize Principal Williams and Roy Jr. Razorbacks. Thanks for being. Bethany, we look forward to seeing you as a teacher in a couple of years. You can get early credits in high school and start sooner. Our next recognition will be I Love Teaching Award. Billy Grills, please.
Thank you, Superintendent Board. Aaron, can you come up? We're going to celebrate Mr. Coach Aaron Morris today from T.H. Bell Junior High. Aaron, great to see you. I'm going to start by something your assistant principal wrote, Ms. Stoneman. She nominated you for your Minuteman Maker program. She says, T.H. Bell is a small school and a school in which many students struggle to meet eligibility standards for participation on sports teams. Coach Morris has not backed down from those challenges. Instead, he has seen those challenges as part of his responsibility if he wants to have a winning program. Coach Morris, along with his assistant coach, Mark Womack. Mark, will you raise your hand? Mark Womack started a program in January called the Minuteman Maker. They do this every January. The purpose of the program is to help students stay on track for eligibility and to build leadership and teamwork skills among his players. The Minuteman Maker program helps students feel like they are part of something bigger than themselves. Coach Morris assigns students to MMN teams, Minuteman Maker teams. One student on each team is assigned to be a captain. These small teams of students work together throughout the spring to keep each other eligible for tryouts. In the spring, summer, and fall, these student teams keep each other accountable for showing up to school, for workouts, and ultimately for showing up for the team during the season. The coaches, led by Coach Morris, work tirelessly to redirect and encourage students that want to play football and be on their team, but that struggle academically to stay focused on that goal. Over the years, the program has helped Coach Morris create and sustain a winning football program for our school. The T.H. Bell football program is a point of significant pride for our school and our community. So, Coach has implemented this program, and he's had great success with it. He's just going to take a minute. He's very passionate about it, and kind of tell us what it's done for you and your program.
Well, thank you, Coach Grills. I just want to recognize Coach Grills is my junior high football coach and influenced a lot of people. I said when he retires, we're going to dedicate that field there at T.H. Bell to Bill Grills football field because he had a lot of impact. In fact, 4 of my 5 coaches went to T.H. Bell. 3 of them played for Coach Grills, and we just give him a lot of credit for our success and what he built there when we were all playing there. The Minuteman Maker has become a real special program for us at T.H. Bell. When I arrived at T.H. Bell, this was the spring of 2014. I had started teaching the fall of 2014, and I encountered a lot of pushback that people told me, the kids, the community members, the parents, the faculty, that we're just Bell and we can't win here, we can't beat the Souths, the Walquists, and the Sanders of the world, we're just Bell. And I refuse to believe that. And we are the small school that plays football. In fact, when we play Walquists, we're playing a team that has double our numbers. And but I refuse to believe that. That was all excuses. We weren't going to accept that. So we put in place this program, this championship player team program, and I refused to accept excuses, and we started building this thing, and it became a real great program for kids. And I know Coach Ward's been there the whole way. Mr. Ward, our principal now, he's vice principal then, and it's been a great program. I want to point out just one. He knows who this student is. I'm not going to mention by name. He's now at Ogden High School, a junior. And I got wind of this kid a couple years ago, wanted to play football in the fall. He hadn't played as an 8th grader, and he had awful GPA. I think he was a sub 1.0, if that sounds correct, Mr. Ward. He was hanging with the wrong crowd and just going down the wrong path, but he wanted to play football. So we put our arm around him. We got him involved in the Minuteman Maker program, got him involved with some good kids and that little team dynamic we talked about, and Coach Grills mentioned. And by the spring, I think he was a 3-point-something student. Does that sound right, Coach Womack? He tracks that. He was up in the 3.6 range by spring. And that fall, in fact, I used to get emotional talking about it because it was so neat. By the fall, he was the first kid out for practice, getting the dummies out and blocking shields, and the last guy to leave every practice. And then I saw him that next fall. He had since gone to Ogden. Coach, I'm playing starting center on the sophomore team at Ogden, and I'm eligible, and I'm playing. And it was so neat to see. And that wasn't even the kid that helped us that fall. He was a scout team player and things. He wasn't a kid that started. But what a great success story. We've had many other success stories like that. And so it's been a great program for us. I want to acknowledge, I invited some people here tonight that have been a great success. This wouldn't happen without a great staff. And I committed to myself when I got that job that I would only hire people from the community to coach because they would know what that means to live in that community. And so I've got a lot of real neat people. Mr. Grills mentioned Coach Womack that's in the building with me and helps immensely with eligibility. I throw him a lot of eligibility stuff, and he really helps with that. Coach Koopmans is back here. He's been with me for all 5 years I've been at TH Bell, and has helped in the community in Little League and at the junior high level. And then Coach Morris, my baby brother, Coach Morris here, Coach Trevor, is my defensive coordinator, does a fantastic job, and is very passionate about TH Bell football in the community. 2 coaches that couldn't be here tonight. I guess it's one. Coach Dave Hemmers, who's helped me for the last 3 years, is moving to Japan as part of his job and couldn't be here tonight. He's taking care of some business. And I also invited, I want to call out, we have great kids at TH Bell. I want to point that out. We have the best kids in the district, and they are so committed and so dedicated. We have 3 of them tonight. One is my nephew, so he got dragged along by his brother, but he's a 3-year, 2-way starter at TH Bell. I think we counted up, he started and played in 24 games over his 3-year career. Pretty amazing. Then back here in the corner hiding out, we call him Jaden Money Gallegos. The dude has the best hands in the district, had about 7 interceptions this last year. What a great player, and he's with his mom. And then Myra Brown here. I think Myra's the most dedicated kid you'll see. I don't think he missed a workout in the spring. He's with his dad, Mike. But 3 great players for us that showed up to be recognized, and I wouldn't be in this position without them. And so it's just a neat honor for me and for the program, for the community, to be so honored and so recognized. So thank you, Coach Grills, Superintendent Stevens. I also give a shout out. I don't know if Mr. Owen remembers me. He hired me at Weaver in 1999 as a Spanish teacher. And Miss Butters in the crowd, she was my administrator, Roy, for many years. So it's great to see my former administrators here. And I'm sorry, my mother is here. Yes, my mother and my stepfather, Tamara Mortensen and Larry Mortensen. Sorry, thank you, Doug, for pointing out my negligence in not mentioning my mother and stepfather. Yes, they came to support me as well, so thank you so much to them.
Well, wait a minute, Eric. Thanks for stealing my thunder. I just wanted you to tell me about the program, but you did a heck of a job. Now I'm going to finish if you're okay. Yeah. Okay, if I have your permission. Yeah, so I was, well, we're going to move on. Let's transition to this is a couple of your players. It says, Mr. Morris gives me confidence. He helped me with my schoolwork, grades, remediation, and the Minuteman Maker helped me stay eligible. He taught me how to treat all people right. He makes me laugh and motivates us. That's from Taki.
Tahi's a great kid.
Yeah, Kapasi. And then Mr. Morris has taught me how to be a leader, to be responsible. He has helped me with my grades. He's taught me how to help others, how to work hard. He is an uplifting person who gives others confidence and thinks of others before himself. That's from your captain, your quarterback, Boyd Dixon. And then Mr. Morris is a funny person who helps other people out. He always tries to make you a better person. He has made me a better person. Better grades, I am more helpful to others, and I want to be a leader. He has taught me to be a hard worker in class, and that's from Jordan. Okay, that's your tailback, right?
Yeah, it's done.
So he does a good job. So now, Mr. Morris, can we go one more? There's another picture of your championship. Now, before you move this next one, Trent, you might not like this. You saw his passion. When he was an 8th and 9th grader, he knew the defense as good as the coaches. So he was our strong safety, and he would be back, and as loud and as passionate he is right now in 9th grade, he'd be, get over, you. And we're like, Eric. He goes, Coach, I got this. And he did it. Well, then, and he had an older brother who passed away, Matt, who played for me as well. He was an offensive, defensive lineman, did a heck of a job. And then little Trevor comes. Miss Morris, you did a heck of a job. Trevor would, I'd have my prep period, and Trevor had wanted, hey, can you give me my read? So I'd have to get down, and Trevor would make his move, and I was like, hey, Trevor, it's my lunch or my prep. And he goes, hey, we got a big game this week. I need some extra reps. So what a great family, great football family. He's so well respected in the community. Bell is the smallest school in the district besides Snowcrest. And Coop's done a great job back there. He played for us as well. And he competes every year. Yesterday I was out at the volleyball match, and Coach Blanche, he goes, I can't, Matt Morris, he goes, his kids play hard and they're always prepared. Walquist is twice the size, right? They got you a year ago, and you got done this year. Now you're going to love this. This is what I remember, guys. When you're a teacher, you remember your kids. Well, I had a PE class and a football class, so the next one, Trent, this is my man right here. Huh? Look at that good-looking guy. 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. In those 2 years, he was instrumental in our success. So.
That's great. That makes it good.
Yeah, you're still handsome. So anyway, Superintendent Board, I love teaching award, Aaron Morris. Thanks, Aaron. Hey, did you introduce your wife?
Oh, no.
You better. Lisa, stand up. Shoot, that's his lovely wife.
Oh my goodness, I'm never living that one down. And my daughter Allie, my son Cal. So Cal, you can stand up and take him away. So I have 2 older boys, both played for me. They had to work, and one's driving range, and one's at work tonight. They're great kids, both played for me too, went through the program. So.
What if we invite Coach Morris's players to come up, his assistant coaches, and Len and Nicole to come up?
Perfect.
What do you want to
All right. I guess
we got to put Paul. Because you were by you were slow. Oh, I'm right. Are we slow? Is everybody here? Yeah, you want to come on? Yeah. You're over here. Over here. 2?
We said he started in 98.
Nice.
Can I just say one more thing about Coach Fields? Can I say one more thing? I didn't mention, my father passed away he mentioned my whole family. My father passed away when I was young, and Coach Fields was like the surrogate father. And I think he knows that, but my brother thought the world of him, the one that passed away, thought the world of Coach Grills. Both my brothers did, so he was I'm not more than a football coach, he was a surrogate father.
And your father
so he did a great job.
And your father did what for a living?
He was a teacher.
And he was where?
He was a Bonneville.
Oh, that's great. That's fun. We got the best, don't we, in the Weaver School District? Speaking of best, I want to recognize Mr. Principal Len Ward, as well as Assistant Nicole Warren Dolman. They also was mentioned. There's a couple others. Mr. Skeen from Longview View is also with us, and Mrs. Joanne Hobbs from, I believe, is with us as well. And I guess we'll recognize the rest of the district staff. So thanks for being with us, guys. We have a presentation board. Elementary Mathematics Changes in Curriculum Resource Adoption by Sherry Hyder and Jennifer Boyer Thornton. Sherry. Thurgood. Sorry. Sherry, please.
Super
superintendent and board, we are absolutely thrilled to be able to share with you this evening some changes that have been made in our elementary math program. And we thought that we would give you an early Christmas present and share with you two of the things that Jennifer and I find like the most joy in. So data and statistics and mathematics, okay? So we got it tonight. We've also got some wonderful children tonight that are going to help us out a little bit as we move through. Just reminder a little bit, in 2016-17, we had the great opportunity, thank you, to get some new resource materials to be used for our elementary mathematics program. And that was a pretty rigorous process that we went through. We involved teachers, administrators, parents, lots and lots of folks were here. Every school was represented, and took about 6 months to go through the evaluation of resources. Jennifer and I never thought that our teachers would land on the one they did. We were secretly rooting for it, but it was the one that was going to be the most challenging to teach, challenging for students, and just a great departure from kind of the way we had done business in the K-6 world before. So we were super excited. During the summer of 2017, Jennifer just did a bang-up job and brought every teacher, K-6, in. And I think we had 95% participation. It was incredible. Never seen anything like it.
Which is about how many teachers altogether?
Oh gosh, almost 700. Yeah, so just amazing during the summer, right? Because they were so excited about this, and it just was an amazing experience. This last year, 17-18, we had the first run of the complete Engage New York curriculum with our K-6 teachers, and it was a great experience. That training has continued to go on, and teachers have just felt really supported. We wanted to make sure that you kind of had an idea what we've been looking like as far as data. You know, we just finished the SAGE testing that started in 2014. Thought you might want to just take a quick peek. Notice that basically every grade level, each color is representing a grade level, has increased their percent proficient on end-of-level testing over time, which is a nice thing to see. But there's even a second component that I think is just as important. So if you take a look up here at third grade, the state is in the orange and Weaver School District is in the blue. Now do watch the scales off to the side because sometimes that can be a little bit tricky. But what I'd like you to notice more than anything else is that we have been able to close the gap in the difference between the state and Weaver School District, which I think is extremely important. Watch what has happened over the last couple of years specifically. Many teachers in our district had started reaching out for other curricular resources to support their teaching because they found that what we had before, there were some areas where it didn't quite match, and they had sought out other materials to kind of help them out. Interestingly enough, one of the materials they sought was Engage New York. So if you kind of look at the last 2 years, I think that's a really important thing to see. Now typically, anytime you adopt a new curriculum, a new resource, you'll find a dip in proficiency levels just as teachers get acclimated and students kind of learn a new way of doing things. We really have not found that to any significant degree. The research all says that you'll drop between 7 and 10% the first year. We did not. So you'll notice just a couple percent drop on the fourth grade, nothing serious at all. But nonetheless, we've made great progress from 2014. So look at it, kind of over time. Now here's our 5th and 6th grade. Notice that 6th grade. Jennifer actually devoted quite a bit of her time last year to 6th grade. That was her area of focus, trying to get those teachers up to speed and really give them all of the resources that they needed. But check that out. We've sufficiently closed the gap, right? And we're still looking to do more than this, but I think that shows an awesome improvement in what kids have been able to do. This is perhaps the most exciting piece. In each of the grade levels, I went back and pulled out of our 27 elementary schools, the ones that had actually showed increases in proficiency in the SAGE assessments from 2017 to 2018. In 3rd grade, 11 of our schools showed increases. And guess what? The average increase, 12.3%. The average increase. So phenomenal. Fourth grade, 10 of our 27 schools showed improvements of 7.7. 11 and 5th grade showed improvements 6.27. Check out 6th grade. 19 of the 27 schools, 7.95% increase in percent proficient. So we are super, super excited that we've had the opportunity to bring in new resources for these teachers to support them. Every teacher got a gift tote, shall we say, of supplies, manipulatives, resources that they could use with their students. And that's been just an incredible resource. The other thing that has helped us out so much is the inclusion of Dr. Jennifer Boyer-Thurgood to our team. And she has just done an exceptional job working with our elementary mathematics teachers, and just, it has been phenomenal. So, we'd like to really get into the fun part of tonight and turn the time over to Jennifer to walk you through a little bit of what we're doing to build conceptual awareness with our students.
You bet.
All right, Superintendent Board. Coach Morris had a lot of enthusiasm, and I hope you'll see that we have as much enthusiasm for math as he does for football tonight. So a major switch in our program that we have moved to is this focus on number sense. I have a lot of teachers initially, a lot of parents who say, what does that mean? What is number sense? We're trying to build that specifically with and about units in our new elementary math program. Number sense simply means that students have fluidity and flexibility with numbers. That they can think about numbers in really conceptual ways, and that they can apply that understanding of numbers to all kinds of different contexts. So to really help all in the room understand what that truly is, we have some awesome mathematicians who are going to help us with that tonight. So we have Dax Chappell. They are all 5th graders at Uinta Elementary. So they are here with their teacher, Mrs. Liptrap, and also their principal, Miss Joanne Hobbs. So Dax, we're going to invite you guys up now. These students are going to come and sit with you board members, and they're going to help you with some math problems. So we're all going to participate, and they're going to help us out. So Dax, come on up. We've got Bennett left, and we've got Ruby Williams. Yep, go ahead and grab your chairs. And we've got Lucy Whitney. Everyone in the audience is welcome to participate too. Sherry's handing out some personal whiteboards. There's no pressure. I know adults see mathematics and there's no pressure. Our students will guide you right through everything that you need to do. All right. 5th grade mathematicians, are you ready? Okay. I have to tell you that I was talking with these students as we were kind of preparing for this presentation, and their enthusiasm for mathematics is about the level of Coach Morris. So we're excited. To kind of explain a little bit about what you're going to see, Engage New York and conceptual programs like that take students through a progression from the concrete manipulatives that you've heard a little bit about to the pictorial to the abstract number. Now, most of us as adults, the math programs and training that we went through in school simply focused on the abstract. So we'll show you how adding in that concrete and the pictorial can really open up math understanding for kiddos. This is a picture of a brain imaging lab. So it's in places like this where research is done on why it's so important to connect the concrete and the pictorial. This is actually a brain imaging lab that's up at Utah State University that does this very type of research. So because the brain research is so awesome, these kids are going to show you how it works. So everyone who's got a whiteboard and a marker, go ahead and write. You don't have to show anyone. There's no pressure. Write down how you would typically solve this problem. 18 divided by 5. Students, go ahead and work on how you might typically solve this problem. 18 times, did I say it wrong? 18 times 5, sorry. 18 times 5. Write down how you would typically solve that. Everyone looks so scared. There's really no judgment on how you solve this problem.
Red-winged jacket.
That's how I do it. 18 times 5 equals, got it. I got it.
All right, do you have something down? Lucy, we're going to let you. Do you want to come do yours up here? Okay, perfect. All right, most people in the room, I'm guessing, probably did this. Raise your hand if you did the problem like this. I told these students when we were practicing, I said, every board member is going to do it this way. They said, why? I said, I know, I agree with you. Why? Why would they do it that way? So.
Did you end with that? I just started with the.
Is it not working? No. After all that, maybe, Trent, could you help us out? Thanks. This is the standard algorithm, or a standard algorithm. So the way that you know how to do this math problem, and most adults in our area think is the way to do this math problem, is simply a way. Even throughout the United States, this is not the standard way that everyone would attack this problem. But in our region, this is how most people would solve it. Here are a couple of different ways. Ruby, did you work on this one? You're going to do it in a minute? Okay. So this is a picture that shows how you would build a concrete visual model to show what 18 times 5 is. Yeah, Ruby's got some blocks over here. There she goes. Ruby, do you want to kind of explain to the board members what you do with those blocks, how you would think about 18 times 5? So she would lay out 5 groups of 18 blocks. That makes sense, right? So it would kind of look like this. All right, another way to do this, Lucy over here has what we call a virtual manipulative. So our teachers in their classrooms have smart boards. Lucy, can you tell us a little bit about how you would do that on the smart board?
Well, it's not really working.
Of course, right?
I would take 5 tens, and then 5 tens, and then I would also make 5 eights, and so it was 10 times 5 and 10 times 5.
Great. Awesome explanation. Do you see how she was able to verbalize all of that? That's a big part of Engage New York is talking about mathematics as well. Lucy, if we can get this working, we'll have you come and do this again in a minute. You can have a seat. So we've got the virtual way. We know again from that brain research that linking up the visual or the pictorial ways of thinking about math are so important. So here's the same way of doing that problem, breaking it up like these girls did with the concrete, right, and the virtual. But it's represented in an array. Did one of you do the array? Dax, will you tell us a little bit about how this visual model works? If we organize our multiplication into rows and columns, 5th graders, what is the shape that's always created? What is it? Always a rectangle, right? Sometimes it's a special rectangle, and we call that a square, and those are called square numbers. That's where that comes from, right, is the visual model. This is how this all links up in Engage New York. So we start with the concrete, we go to the pictorial, and then students learn how to abstractly record what's happening in the pictorial model. This leads to something called partial products over here. So this, if you ask these kids to go ahead and attack that 18 times 5 problem, this right here, the partial products, is how most of them would probably show their work. Kids, do one of you want to talk about why there's those different lines in there, why there's a 40 and a 50? Dax, would you like to? Okay.
So, like, why there's a 40?
Right here. Why that 40's right there?
Oh, because if we're going to work place and times 5 times 8, that is 40. So you put 40 right there, and then 5 times 10, which is 50, which is a lot easier for some kids. So I have to look at 5 times 8 and have to compare it to 3. And then it's basically just 1 plus 5 is 9 plus 3 is 9.
Awesome. Did you notice how Dax said something really important? He said, we go 5 times 10. We're timesing by 10. We're not timesing by 1.
right? Interesting story. This is kind of lore in mathematics, but it makes a lot of sense. Calculating by partial products is a lot more accurate. How Dax described it to us is a lot more accurate than the standard algorithm that all of us adults usually use. The reason that standard algorithm likely came about were because of this technology tool, the slate. Limited space on the slate, and some teacher came up with a way to save space on that slate, and so our standard algorithm was born. It also removed all of the conceptual understanding from the mathematics, and we've just stuck with that as tradition. So, not a great reason to continue doing it. This is the ultimate reason. If we get to a word problem, how many adults in the room love word problems? Awesome, we got Dave back there, we got a couple. Kids, how many of you guys love word problems? Okay, Ruby's holding out up here. The rest of them think that they really love word problems. She's honest. That's a great characteristic. She hang on to that. If kids know all these conceptual pictures and reasons behind what they're doing, they're a lot more likely to be able to solve problems like this. So instead of looking for an algorithm that fits what might need to happen in the problem like this, they just have to know conceptually what's going on, and they can figure out what abstract numbers go with that problem. All right, so we're going to give you a second chance. You can try one of the things demonstrated by our kids if you want, but now will you try a different way to solve 18 times 5? Do you want to come try it? Okay. Board members, take just a few minutes and look at how the 5th grade mathematician next to you is working on this problem again. You get some rumination over here. Okay. All right. Hopefully you had a minute to try something new. As I was brainstorming with these kids, different ways that we could solve this problem, they kept coming up with way after way after. I mean, we probably could have showed you 30 ways tonight to solve this math problem. There's 2 more that I want to quickly highlight. Students, did one of you do the problem like this? Awesome. Okay, Bennett, why don't you stand up and tell us a little bit about how you solved it like this?
I wrote the area model, and then I did 5 times 9 is 45, and then 5 times 9 is 45, and then I added them, and it equals 90, because 9 times 2 equals 18.
Awesome. See how that one works? Pretty amazing, right? Okay. Here is another way. Did any of you do the 20 version? Did you do this one? Awesome, Dax.
So, on this, it's basically 25, and on this, we're just split it up into each base 10 blocks, and you took one away, which would be 2 groups of 5, and got rid of that, which is basically 100 minus 10, got rid of 90. The other way to do this.
Huh. Adults in the room, would any of you do it this way? Awesome, we had a couple. Did you do it this
That's how I
way?
done it the first time. 5 times 20 minus 10.
You've got awesome number sets. Great job. Robert.
Better for me.
No, it's great. Flexible and fluid thinking, right?
I did it the first time that way too, because I said everybody knows 20 nickels equals
$1. And then I buy 2 nickels for a dime, and so a dime minus $1.90.
Of course, it's in a money context.
Everything's money to him. Where's the question money? You are
A lot of our students would do it because the blocks that they work with are grouped into hundreds, and so 20 times 5 is something that they would really naturally pick up on. This is the one that I think is the most interesting. Did you realize that 18 times 5 also equals 9 times 10? The reason that that works is because we divide 18 in half and we double 5. So the two arrays that represent this thinking are 8 times 5 here and 9 times 10 here. We know that this works because of the mathematics and also because of the pictorial representations that have the same area. So, back to number sense. If a student has number sense, like our awesome mathematicians here, they have fluidity and flexibility with numbers. And the whole purpose behind our teachers making this huge switch in their mathematics understanding is so that our students have the number tools to solve those word problems and those real life problems that they're likely to encounter during their lives, and not just find the right algorithm. So board, again, thank you for the support.
Can I ask you to maybe do one other explanation?
Sure.
Sometimes, and board members might even get some of this, there will be resistance from parents because they're saying they're having my child do math a new way. Will you just kind of walk through what our goal is, working with numbers this way, developing number sense, and responding to that sometimes resistance of they're asking my child to do math a new way.
Right, something I hear a lot from parents, right, is I learned it and I've been fine in my life, right? I've been able to get by. But as we pulled the room, is there a comfort? Is there an understanding? Is there, all of that conceptual behind what we know is mathematics? I know there wasn't for me until I was trained at a different level. So parents also say, well, you're teaching my kids picture math. Why do they have to draw pictures, right, for math? But the whole reason behind that is the connection between the conceptual, the pictorial, and the abstract. If you think about mathematics, everything in math started from a reason to count something physical. So if we take it back to that and kids understand the reason for what they're doing, even back to really simple addition and subtraction problems, they can connect that to the abstract numbers that they're seeing and be able to reason more effectively with those. Okay. Thank you so much, kids. Thank you for being here tonight. And for
Wow, that's a first. That's awesome. Thank you. That was very fun. The interaction is fun. Kids, thanks for coming, spending your night with us, and teaching us math. Wow, times are changing, aren't they? Thank you very much, Sherry and Jennifer. Next item, board, would be the action item for approval of revised policy 4505, drug, alcohol, and tobacco testing of students participating in extracurricular activities on a second reading. Mr. Billy Grills, please.
Thanks, John. Superintendent Board, in the November meeting, the Board of Education approved the addition of tobacco testing to policy 4505. There has not been any feedback received concerning the policy. Therefore, we'd like to include the addition of tobacco as a tested substance in the policy 4505 on the second reading.
Board, you've heard the presentation from Billy, I'd entertain a motion. So moved by Bruce, seconded by Mitzi. Sorry, Paul. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye, motion passed, or that motion carries. Thank you.
We'll start that testing second semester.
Thank you. Second semester
This school year.
All right. All right. Next item would be approval of boundary adjustments on a second reading presented by Cammie Alexander, please.
Before I start, Board Superintendent, I just want to show you my pictorial representation of 18 times 5.
I like you. I like you.
Right? Got it.
Let me check it again.
I got it. I tried it twice. I even used the communicative properties.
It certainly helped.
Turned it around.
It still works.
It still worked. I'm so proud of myself. I'm going to tell my mom when I get home. That was great. I am so pleased at what our kids do and what our teachers do every day. Miracle workers out there. President, Superintendent, Board, just wanted to come before you tonight and let you know that after the first reading on our boundary proposals, we've had no new information. We have lots of information, none of it being new that we hadn't already considered. We have not made any revisions to the proposals since that first reading, and we would ask the board to ratify those boundary adjustments tonight.
Cammie, Mr. Wallace, and all those involved in this, thank you so much for your hard work. And Mr. Skeen.
Absolutely, sorry.
All those that are involved in this, we thank you very much. Scott.
Trent.
I mean, the team, everybody, I don't want to leave anybody out, so everybody in this room that helped, thank you very much for your hard work. Working with people, this is a tough thing to go through. It's an exciting time to get a new school in a time when we are so pressed for room out of that area. And the diligence and the leadership that you've done on our part makes it almost really easy. And I hate to say that, but I really love saying that, to be able to make a decision to move forward with this. And we look forward to the same process very shortly. So with that, Board, I'd entertain a motion to approve the boundary adjustment on a second reading. So moved by Dean, second by Mitzi. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you very much again.
Thank you, and thank you for your support with this. Appreciate everything that you guys have done. Those two in the back, along with their colleagues, have done a lot of the groundwork, a lot of the footwork, and I really appreciate them and Trent and the rest. So thank you for your support and appreciate it.
Thank you. It's exciting. This is an exciting time. This is part of it. Approval of a wholesale price contract for natural gas. Dr. Robert Peterson, please.
Yeah, this opportunity came to our attention through the work of Scott Zellmer and Cody Barnes in our maintenance and area. And they came across practices that have been going on in our districts, and so we checked into it. The Dominion Energy is our main gas supplier, and our lines are owned by Dominion Energy that go to all of our schools. And what basically is happening is that we are poised to sign a contract with Summit Energy, the private broker, and they will rent those lines for a minimal amount, and then they can get the gas at cheaper prices in bulk and use those lines, and we save money, they make a little bit of money, and it's kind of a win-win. The key is that your facility has to be large enough. It only works in our secondary schools. Elementary schools are too small. We estimate that the savings will be a little over $100,000 every year if we do this. And it's, like I said before, it's been done in other school districts and organizations, and we've vetted the process and talked to their districts. So I'd recommend that the board approve this contract with Summit Energy. Do you have anything else to add, Scott?
The finder's fee?
Other duties as assigned. And I'd like a request for, this is the last action item that these are important. So we do
Don't worry about that part. We'll get that done. And your user fee, Scott, will come on like that breakfast is coming.
Would you just do me a favor? Just double the one I got last year.
You got it. Board, I would entertain a motion to approve a wholesale price contracting for natural gas. So, by the energetic Mitzi. Second. By Paul. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Robert. And thanks, Scott, and to Cody and your crew for finding that. We have great people that find that stuff for us. And I believe we're at the end of our agenda. However, there's one thing that's not on our agenda is it? Oh, it sure is. It's not on mine. Oh, it is too on mine. Well, it comes with bittersweet. This is December, and you know that one of our board members, our sweet, kind little Mitzi Kawaguchi, who has loved this position for 4 years and has struggled since the day one to just show up to meetings because she hates meetings, but she sure loves kids. And her concern there in teaching kids and being there and serving on boards. This is a bittersweet meeting for us, extremely. She's going to be missed. The people in Roy love her. The people in the school district love her. She's been around for a day or two, as you know. She's very quiet, as you noticed. It took something to just get that just now from her. But her heart, her soul is in kids. And man, that's important when you serve on the board. She's a wealth of information and resources when it comes time to making decisions, and kids prior get the input from her. In every meeting you go to or every presentation you go to, she is telling you 4, 5, or 6 kids that are now adults that she taught. And that is so fun to talk about and have her tell us in dreams. So I'm going to miss that. I'm going to miss more giving her a bad time because she's so fun to be around. And Candy for being with us when we go places. So we might have something here for you. I'd like to turn a minute over to Jeff. We wish you the best. You've been a rock star and a legacy that will go on forever in the Weaver School District Board of Education. And we thank you for your service, even though you hate Lex for convincing you to do this. But thank you. Dr. Stevens.
Thank you. I'll echo President Ritchie's sentiments that it's bittersweet. Mitzi and I have known each other for about 20 years. I got to know Mitzi when I was appointed as curriculum director, and that's been just about 20 years ago. And I instantly recognized Mitzi as an extraordinary teacher. Early in that time, Mitzi, remember we had a reading adoption. Mitzi was a part of our adoption committee and played such a crucial role. I don't know that I've met any teacher that has the solid foundation of what good instruction consists of, what best practice consists of, like Mitzi. And we developed a friendship. In fact, over the coming years, at least once a year, I had the privilege to go into her class and teach a class, a first grade class, and I always put my very best foot forward because I knew I was being observed by the master, and I mean Mitzi. When I was appointed the assistant superintendent, Mitzi gave me the book, I'm in Charge of Celebrations, and wrote it, and it's one of my treasures. When Mitzi joined our board 4 years ago, in such a real way, she became in charge of celebrations. Mitzi was present at times of celebrations in schools, not just the schools in Roy, but throughout our district. In addition to those celebrations, Mitzi, you'll never understand the full impact your presence had when you come to trainings. Many, will come to a celebratory kind of event. Mitzi showed up at trainings, and the impact that had on teachers to say there's a board member in our training today was just remarkable. She was involved in this latest elementary reading adoption. She's been involved influentially in some of our preschool work. Mitzi, on behalf of Weaver School District, for well over 50 years of service,
love you. We love you.
Read it, presented to Mitzi Kawaguchi. Thank you for your dedicated service to the children of Weaver School District and members of education.
Will you come down the line? Like a kid?
I want to introduce my sister.
Oh yeah, you better introduce who you brought with you.
My sister April and my niece Candace and her little boy son.
Oh yeah, we'll give him a big kiss. Thank you. Mitzi, here's your award. There you go.
Candace. I know, but come in and take a picture. No, she just wants to take the picture, I think.
Did you get us all?
We're gonna
That's a good looking group right there.
And I want Jan to know that these guys are the best people to work with. I will just love it.
Those shoes will never be filled.
You know, well, we wanted to recognize that, but we kind of thought December would be yours, Mitzi. But we do welcome you, Jan, as a new board member. We'll handle that roast on in January. No, you didn't. You can never blow anything. No, you never blow anything.
We're going to miss you, Mitzi. We love you. Somebody write that down. Thank you, Mitzi, again for everything, and we wish you the best in your future endeavor with your family. Board, the last item on our agenda would be a closed session. This meeting is a strategy session to discuss the purchase, exchange, lease, or sale of real property, and strategy sessions to discuss the character, professional competency, or physical or mental health of an individual. This would be a roll call vote. Board, Robert Peterson, please.
How do you vote, Bruce Jordan? Paul Whitson, Mitzi Kawaguchi, Janice Christensen, Douglas Hurst, Dean O'Ward, and John Ritchie.
Aye.
Very good, unanimous, President.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Be safe and enjoy the holiday.